Check. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Crypto's News. Well, it's that time again, friends. It is another week here where we're going to be talking about what's going on in cryptocurrency news over the past week to make sure that you stay informed and on top of things. Today, we have a special episode on good timing, I would say, because we got the announcement of the Fed meeting. So this was a highly anticipated meeting. This would be the meeting where the Federal Reserve came together to decide the future policy of your life, of my life, of how easy we get access to capital and credit, to how the economy will prosper here in the United States, and how much inflation will eventually eke its way over to cryptocurrency. So that's what it's all about. What's up, Nickel? Thank you so much for showing up. And for everyone else, Validator ETH, nice to see you, Kevin. Everyone else who I didn't get the opportunity to welcome. It's going to be, I think, a good show. We're going to be discussing what happened today that drove prices down, why I don't think that's probably going to last for a long time, and plenty else. So yeah, let's get into it, guys. Let's start notification squad. Amen. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, it helps, guys. If you are new to the show and you don't know, maybe you don't follow some other weird YouTuber who has to remind you to hit that bell icon so you get notified. Make sure you have notifications on in your YouTube app so you get notified whenever we're live. We're going to be doing this weekly, as I mentioned, coming together on Wednesday to give you the updates, the most important updates to keep track of what's going on. So yeah, let's go ahead and start off. I got to get used to my new setup here with the prices. So here we have what's going on. Let me go ahead and refresh just in case it's changed, although I don't think verify I'm human. That's not going to work much longer with the advances you're seeing with like Chat GPT, right? And GPT-4. Anyway, you can see Bitcoin is now down 3.2%. Ethereum is down 5.1%. When I woke up, you actually didn't see much of an impact when I first woke up to the news and started paying attention to what was being said by Jerome Powell, the head of the Federal Reserve, at the announcement of their decision today. You actually saw the crypto prices held up quite well. You saw, for example, the Dow Jones down somewhat, yet you saw tech stocks up like the NASDAQ. Crypto mostly unaffected. It had been hit already this week due to some SEC news, right? The allegations against Binance, against Coinbase, unregistered securities, and everything else. So I was like, I guess this just was not really enough to impact it. And the reason it got impacted, we'll get into right now. But yeah, actually, they are now being hit. So you can see Ethereum down over the last week 10% and Bitcoin down 4.8%. Something you see for the most part. Bitcoin holds up the best. It's the less likely to be a security in the eyes of the SEC, and just generally something that you do see where Bitcoin is a better safe haven asset within the cryptocurrency ecosystem, at least. So this is the official announcement here from Jerome Powell. I'll let you listen to it yourself.
In light of how far we've come in tightening policy, the uncertain lags with which monetary policy affects the economy, and potential headwinds from credit tightening, today we decided to leave our policy interest rate unchanged and to continue to reduce our securities holdings. Looking ahead, nearly all committee participants view it as likely that some further rate increases will be appropriate this year to bring inflation down to 2% over time. And I will have more to say about monetary policy after briefly reviewing economic developments. In light of how
So yeah, again, just pretty much doing what the market expected. The market was expecting a pause. I think that they do this kind of thing on purpose. They start leaking out information. They talk to their sources so as to not surprise the market. They don't want to cause too much turmoil. They don't want their heads chopped off. So they almost in a way try to play like the good guys. But this is pretty much what most market watchers expected, was that this was going to be a pause. And it was a pause for pretty much the expected reasons, like you heard from him, that they need to wait. There's a lag from when they start, when they do some sort of rate hike, and you actually see the impact of that. there is a period before you see that. And so this pause will allow for the effects to catch up. There was, for example, talk about how a lot of stimulation that happened in the economy, a lot of the prices and inflation that went up was perhaps due to COVID stimulus, due to rebound demand because people just could not go out. They were scared to go out. There were lockdowns. And so people were just had this frenzy to spend money. And much of this data that they're looking at when it comes to inflation is really year over year, for example. So they're looking at like this month's price increases last year. So they're like driving, as they say, looking in the rearview mirror, which is kind of weird because you would never really do that. But it's pretty much how the Federal Reserve operates. At least that's the kind of impression they try to do. So yeah, there might be situations if they continue to raise rates where you could see credit tightening happening. That could be something that hurts banks even more, for example, which is why they would have to do something like this. You saw banks stumble just recently. We were covering it on the show. You had all sorts of smaller banks, some that were even swallowed up as well. They were having issues because of rates going up and them basically holding bonds that they thought would be more profitable had we continued to stay in a low interest rate environment, which was not the case. The Fed basically promised we found out to keep rates low for as long as the eye could see, and that just did not happen. They started to aggressively rate hike, and that hurt banks a lot. So I think what they're talking about right now is that banks could be facing more pain. In the meantime, if they aggressively tighten more beyond these 10 recent rate hikes that they've had. So they've already had 10, and this is the first time they've paused since. I think that they're beginning to get a little bit more concerned, although you heard him promise that they will probably be raising rates twice more this year, perhaps. We're looking at the Fed dot plot where you can see expectations from the different heads at the Fed and how many times you're going to see rates hiked. So it could be the case that we probably see 2 more rate hikes, which is higher than what was expected. And this is perhaps why you're seeing the market sell off. This is why you're seeing crypto sell off. And beyond the fact that we could continue to see rate hikes, this is not just going to be a pause indefinitely, basically promises that there will be rate hikes, is also that we will probably not see rates actually reverse, meaning a flood of more stimulus come in for a period of, as was mentioned by Jerome Powell, not in the specific video, but you could hear it in the statements. It could be a couple of years, according to him, before we see a reversal of rate hikes and actually start seeing rate cuts. So this is something I think that the crypto market really, really wants to see. They want to see these rates be cut. And that will just be the champagne back at the party that the market wants to hear, especially for risk assets. I think luckily within crypto, at least, we have, for example, the Bitcoin halving coming up to look forward to. So we don't just need yo stimulus, buddy. Anyway, we'll see if we actually get to a couple of years before they have to reverse course. I think if we do see some serious systemic issues, it'll probably be what spurs them to actually reverse course. Why else would they really begin lowering rates? Maybe Jerome Powell sees something coming within the next couple of years around that time period. But if he does imagine something like that is coming, it probably is coming sooner rather than later. He just doesn't want to show his cards too early. Anyway, that's my thoughts on the situation. But I think that's why you're seeing crypto basically be hit right now, is that wow, it turns out it could be up to 2 years before we see the reversal of hikes and actually seeing cuts. And we are pausing, but we're not pausing indefinitely. We're going to begin hiking rates again into the year. Anyway, so you saw, again, huge declines with cryptocurrency prices, at least compared to the dampened volatility that we've been seeing recently. Bitcoin actually even hit $24,999. $24,990. Let's see. I could see a scenario where we actually dip lower. Right now, we're around $25,000, which is a good psychological price point, an even number here for Bitcoin. So not too surprised it's stopped the bleeding around this level. But that's not to say that it won't continue to bleed. Now that it's here, we really have to pay attention to what's going on with the market itself. Looking at some of the prior bull markets, I think you often see this kind of like almost double bottom scenario where after the peaks, you see that it actually has like almost two bottoms before it really explodes to the upside. So we really, I guess you could say this might be two bottoms here. So it could be the case that we've bottomed out, but realistically, you usually see the second bottom higher than the first one from what I've seen in the prior cycles. So I think it's possible that we don't go as low as $15,000 if we haven't hit the bottom. I think it's more likely we actually enter the $20,000 region again before we truly just explode to the upside, maybe driven by something like the Bitcoin halving. I'm of the belief that we actually have pretty much bottomed completely, that we're not going to go low, that we have bottomed. We're not going to go below $15,000. I could be wrong with that one, but it does not seem to be the case, especially looking at a lot of history of what's coming on ahead and just how grim the news has been recently and how the market has weathered a lot of this. But yes, looking at all sorts of markets in the past, this is in 2013. You can see this double bottom scenario right here. Pretty much you saw it hit like $168 Bitcoin, then it got as low as about $200 again before rebounding, and you see it time and time again. But each bottom seems to be higher and higher before it explodes. So I don't think we're going to be going lower than $15,000. But if we do go lower than $15,000, then I guess we have quite a few years ahead here to wait. But I just can't imagine that to be the case. Anyway, trade safely here. I'm just trying to say, looking at a lot of this, it's very possible that we have more downside, which to me is kind of a good thing here. Like we have this popular post that was put up on the cryptocurrency subreddit by Rune W007, James Bond. He said that he started buying crypto or Bitcoin just recently, actually, when it was around $17,000, $18,000. So near the bottom, not the exact bottom, but he's really only known profits since then. So maybe that's why he's enjoying this bear market, because he's still in the green. And if it dropped below his average buy-in, that maybe he would change his mind. But I think there's something to be said about enjoying the bear market for sure, and the opportunity to accrue more and more coins, such as exemplified by the top comment here, Mesa DMN, who said, "Who enjoys the bear market enjoys the bull market more. You do right. I love the bear market dramas." Yeah, enjoy the drama. Enjoy it for what it is. Enjoy the slower times, because it gets really, really loud, as you know, during the bull market. And this is the time when you can pick up those value plays, when it becomes clear who is doing the work, which coins you really want to be holding, which ones have survived and weathered things. You have so many more data points to take in at this kind of time period. For me personally, I've become quite interested in just finding AI plays as well. Outside of crypto, since I've basically told you guys I'm not going too much into alts personally, I'm super fascinated in what kind of value is going to be driven by artificial intelligence discoveries with these LLMs that are coming out, and so much else with art and etc. What kind of value is going to be created by that, and where do you want to position yourself because of that? It reminds me of a lot of when Bitcoin was going to blow up. Granted, there are more eyes on artificial intelligence, but I think there's huge plays there. Some of the leading names are coming out. And so that's something I've been super fascinated to find out right now. But there's usually something to be excited about and make money in, even if it's not crypto. And I think that might be an area to be paying attention to as well. I wonder if you guys are doing that. I'm sure many of you are into AI as well. Anyway, SEC asked for more time to respond to Coinbase call for crypto clarity. So it had come out that Coinbase has been asking for clarity on rules for crypto from lawmakers and from the SEC for some time. They have not gotten that clarity, and now they're being sued by the SEC. So the SEC was ordered to respond to Coinbase within 7 days as to why they hadn't updated rules. And so on. So the SEC has been granted an extension, they asked for an extension of an additional 120 days. What a surprise. They have clarified nothing. They basically said that this writ of mandamus by Coinbase has no merit, so they shouldn't even have to respond to this at all. There should be no rulemaking, but still they're going to respond, they expect, within 120 days. Yeah, Anyway, so yeah, if you were hoping for clarity on that, no, we're probably gonna wait. We're gonna have to wait to see what happens with the XRP case to get some more clarity. That's probably the one that's gonna be coming to a resolution the quickest before we see anything with Binance and Coinbase. That could be quite some time, right? But because of what's going on, you saw at the SEC that we talked about in the last video with their assaults on crypto, right, against Binance, against Coinbase. You saw some material impact. So you saw all coins dropping throughout the week. And part of that was because you did see services like crypto.com cutting services for institutions because probably regulatory fears. This article says demanding and challenging market conditions, but I think that's because it's driven at least partially by fears of the SEC and the regulators and so on, and them not creating clarity. So this is going to actually start, they're going to be suspending institutional services, crypto.com, starting on June 21st. So what is this? In about 7 days, that's going to be happening. Robinhood as well is delisting Cardano, Polygon, and Solana amidst the lawsuits. So what's interesting is that the SEC hasn't had to prove anything about these actually being securities. They just provided their own guidance. We think those are securities, and therefore you're violating the laws. This has to be proven in court, but they don't, of course, want to have to pay more lawyers to deal with this kind of situation, especially if there's not enough volume, enough profit from the trading of these coins. They'll just delist it, exchanges such as Robinhood, which I think is a shame if you are a hodler and a believer in some of these projects, and could eventually impact a coin near you if you're not holding one of these coins. So it pays to pay attention, so to speak. Lawmakers introduced bill to remove SEC chair. This was rather controversial news that was blowing up. So there was a bill by Senator Warren Davidson of Ohio that had first been announced back in April, and it's trying to be signed, which would basically have Gary Gensler step down, kind of like impeached from his role at the head of the SEC for misconduct and abuse of power. He actually is supposed to be in office and can continue to damage right? Until 2026. This snaky fella is going to be. I don't like to pick on particular individuals, but it's just a lot of his actions do seem to point to that as more and more comes out, as the community is finding more about the history of this gentleman, from teaching blockchain courses at MIT and seeming quite open about these technologies, to saying we've had enough of crypto assets, we have enough of them, and just trying to crap down. Like that one, crap down on the entire space. Anyway, I don't know if this SEC Stabilization Act will pass, but it is interesting in how it would restructure things. It would basically have another SEC commissioner position, bringing the total to 6. It would axe Gensler at the top. It would establish an executive director position to oversee the agency's day-to-day operations, and would mandate that a single political party could never hold more than 3 commissioner seats at any real time. According to Davidson, U.S. capital markets must be protected from a tyrannical chairman, including the current one. That's why I'm introducing legislation to fix the ongoing abuse of power and ensure protection that is in the best interest of the market for years to come. Have I stuck with Bitcoin only finally, Crypto Kerbit? Absolutely not. Am I still shitcoining? I don't know about that, because I don't consider Ethereum a shitcoin. I still have a lot of possible shitcoins that I've just had as dust in various wallets or accrued from various reasons, and I just don't bother to sell them. So I don't know. Am I a shitcoiner? I guess by your definition, maybe, Crypto Kerbit. But I definitely am buying just as much Bitcoin as I am Ethereum these days, and I have a stake in both, and I would like to see both succeed. So I don't know, man. Watch Your Guru. He posted this on Twitter. This was actually something that was not originally found out by Watch Your Guru, but this is just an account that kind of posts trending news on Twitter related to cryptocurrency. This was on June 7th. Gary Gensler applied to serve as an advisor for Binance in 2019 before becoming SEC chair, court filing says. So some are saying that part of what's going on with Binance here is his own spite for not getting the job as an advisor at Binance. That's why he's sticking it to them, you know? That's basically the gist of that news. Anyway, so Reddit has been a main place that many cryptocurrency communities come together to discuss things. I like to frequent, for example, ETH Finance to get some of the Ethereum news, market news, developments. I like that community. Sometimes I'll see the cryptocurrency subreddit. Oh, unfortunately, I have to go there sometimes just to see what's up. And see what I'm missing. But it can be a good place for some information and for understanding what a lot of the mainstream cryptocurrency people are thinking or the narratives are. Or I'll head over to Bitcoin markets, which hasn't been as popular outside of the bull market, but can be a good place for rational Bitcoin discussion. I'll head over to the Bitcoin subreddit, the Ethereum subreddit that finally has new moderation, but that moderation might be having issues because a lot of these subreddits use, for example, APIs. They use like plugins, let's call them, that allow for bots to moderate the different subreddits. So humans don't have to delete every single piece of spam. I read recently that 80% of what's posted on Reddit is spam content that is moderated. But if you haven't heard, Reddit has been having a protest. The last 2 days, Reddit was down. So it was difficult to go to ETH Finance and get any information because you could not post there. Nothing was being approved at all. Many subreddits went completely private in protest of a change coming to Reddit that will basically make it extremely expensive to use these APIs with any sizable usage to plug into Reddit and to feed into another third-party application that works with Reddit. So you have like, for example, I used to love my Android phone because I used to use Reddit only because of the Reddit is Fun application. I really enjoyed that application. I liked the user interface. There was so much about it that I loved, and I could not stand the Reddit app. That is one application that's being shut down. So imagine so many different people who care about cryptocurrency or whatever else who are using Reddit as fun, just like I did, and no longer will they be able to use that app because that app is shutting down. It's the case for a very popular one on the iPhone, a third-party application, so much else. NSS, so not safe for work content, will basically be unavailable on any third-party applications as well, unless you're using the official Reddit application. The company is saying that this is because, for example, AI, like companies like OpenAI are using Reddit's API to get free access to troves of information that exists on Reddit, and they should have to pay for those calls. So I understand it from a business aspect, from a user aspect. This has been extremely unpopular and has led to many subreddits going dark, some more permanently or indefinitely, we could call them, and many coming back like normal right now. So I just wanted to share, if you have been following some of that drama, some information, of course. This is coming out. The CEO had Steve Huffman. This is a leaked memo basically to employees who he calls snooze employees of Reddit that was shared about weathering this recent call against Reddit and this protest with these subreddits going dark to try to impact at least some sort of revenue, which doesn't have apparently impacted very much of Reddit, by the way. Anyway, this is pretty much what was said. I think it's a little bit disappointing, and I understand where the community comes from here. He wrote, "Hi, snooze. Starting last night, about 1,000 subreddits have gone private. We do anticipate many of them will come back by Wednesday, and they have. As many have said as much. While we knew this was coming, it is a challenge nevertheless, and we have our work cut out for us. A number of snooze have been working around the clock, adapting to infrastructure strains, engaging with communities, and responding to the myriad of issues related to this blackout. Thank you, team." There were actually a lot of issues with Reddit itself. It had problems working for anyone because of the different tweaking that was going on in references blackout. We have not seen any significant revenue impact so far, and we'll continue to monitor. There's a lot of noise with this one, among the noisiest we've seen. Please know that our teams are on it, and like all blowups on Reddit, this one will pass as well. The most important things we can do right now are stay focused, adapt to challenges, and keep moving forward. We absolutely must ship what we said we would. The only long-term solution is improving our product. In the short term, we have a few upcoming critical mod tool launches we need to nail. While the two biggest third-party apps, Apollo and Reddit is fun, along with a couple others, have said they plan to shut down at the end of the month, we are still in conversation with some of the others. And as I mentioned in my post last week, we will exempt accessibility-focused apps, and so far have agreements with RedReader and Dystopia. That's pretty cool. A lot of people have disabilities and they use these applications to be able to engage with Reddit in ways that they cannot with the official applications. So at least we're hearing about some exemptions for those tools. I'm sorry to say this, but please be mindful of wearing Reddit gear in public. You don't want to get punched, brah. Some folks are really upset, and we don't want you to be the object of their frustrations. Again, we'll get through it. Thank you to all of you for helping us do so. So I think as a leader making a decision, I understand this. I think he's completely missing the boat and focusing on profit over users. And I do feel like, personally, Reddit will probably survive this. It's such a complicated situation. I was watching a discussion recently about like how come, for example, you're seeing that the Apple subreddit has decided that they're indefinitely going dark, while you're seeing all the cryptocurrency subreddits, seemingly Bitcoin, ETH Finance, cryptocurrency, they're coming back up right now. Why is that when cryptocurrency is supposed to have this ethos, blockchain is supposed to have this ethos of decentralization, of taking power away from the centralized corporations and outsourcing that to the different nodes, right, to have a say? So why would all these cryptocurrency subreddits come back? And a lot of that is because people's pockets, right? The people who tune into these different subreddits generally tune in to keep up with their investments and so on, and that's something that at least emotionally impacts them daily. Not everyone cares about what Apple is releasing daily because they don't release something daily, so they can afford to go dark, even though they have like 2.6 million followers on Reddit. Anyway, very complicated situation. If you guys are following this, please let me know your thoughts down in the comment below. As someone who's really liked Reddit, it would be weird to see a demoderation going on, and I think this will impact the quality of information that we may have access to as people who source some information from Reddit, cryptocurrency-wise or investments-wise. It's been a really great resource for me, and I have to wonder how this is going to work out and affect all of us. So many outlets get their information from Reddit, not just me, right? Twitter is just kind of a cesspit these days. Oh, me first. Here, listen to me. Me. Oh my God, it just gets so loud sometimes, man. Anyway, so Jacob Canfield, a friend of mine from back in the day in crypto, he has announced that there was a complex phishing scam that he was targeted with related to Coinbase, and he wanted to share that, so he did a post talking about it. He wrote, "Holy shit, I just got attacked with one of the most complex scams in crypto that I have seen to date. I'm bringing this up to you because I want to make sure that you're aware of these scammers, these social engineers, they're going to be devising new ways to try to target you and get your crypto, and I want you to be safe, guys." So it pays to just to see what's going on here, to try to at least be aware of them and avoid these situations yourself. Luckily, he did not get robbed, but it could have been the case. So he said, "Please read if you use Coinbase. This just happened 15 minutes ago." He wrote, "This is a warning for all Coinbase users. There has been some sort of a data breach. First, I received a text message saying that my Coinbase 2FA was changed. I then received 3 calls from a Coinbase customer support that was from a San Francisco number asking if I was traveling outside of the US and if I requested an email change and a 2FA change. Note, I tried to record this, but I couldn't find my wife's phone before they hung up. I said no to traveling. They said that they canceled the 2FA and email change request and sent a text to verify it was canceled. They then sent me to a security team to verify my account to avoid a 48-hour suspension. They had my name, my email, and my location and sent a verification code email from help@coinbase.com to my personal email." You guys already know about email spoofing if you've been watching the show for some time, but if you don't know, just because the from line when you get an email says it's from a certain address does not really mean that it's from there. It could be spoofed. Basically, a lot of just the way email protocol works, you can change what's in the from line. A lot of different email applications don't allow you to do this. natively, but there are ways to get around that, and the scammers do use that. So very likely this was obviously not from Coinbase.com, this help at Coinbase.com. It was spoofed to look like it was. I told them that I didn't need their assistance, and I changed the password already, and he told me that it wouldn't work. Oh, shoot. I was supposed to be showing you guys stuff this entire time, but I realize I'm still trying to get used to switching between tabs or sources here, so I apologize for that. But anyway, Jacob went on to say, I told him that I didn't need their assistance and I changed the password already, and he told me that it wouldn't work to verify the account and that they would be locking it down for 7 days due to a lack of verification unless I provided the code. He then got angry. He got mad at me and hung up the phone on me after I told him that I wouldn't provide the code. After the first text, I immediately logged into my Coinbase and changed the password into FA and caught on that it was a scam almost immediately, but I doubt that 98 to 99% of people that get this would realize it and would have unlocked their Coinbase accounts. For those unaware, the code they sent was my actual 2FA, but they sent it from their own email and were logging into my account to drain it while we were on the phone. Attached are the texts, phone calls, and emails from the scammers. Like and retweet to spread awareness, please. I don't understand exactly how this attack was taking place because he said it looks like it was a social engineering or phishing scam, said Jacob Canfield, according to Zach XBT. It wasn't the actual 2FA of Jacob, since he doesn't use SMS-based 2FA like text message or email authentication. Not sure exactly how the scammers take the money off the exchange. I maybe didn't stay on long enough to see how they actually do it. Still unsure of how or why I was targeted, but possibly from a data breach from a third party or unrelated to crypto off the dark web. Still better to be safe than sorry, and change all your passwords if you're on Coinbase. Then he heard from a white hat hacker who had promised to share with Jacob what his issues were, although he didn't really describe that specifically in this tweet thread, what his particular vulnerabilities might be. But as it stands, the email is legit from Coinbase and is automatically sent when you request a support ticket to verify your account. So the working theory he has now is that scammers were on live chat or on a phone call with the actual Coinbase support, and they requested a code verification. So it was a legit email from Coinbase. This then would have granted them access to the account, I believe. So they probably had Jacob's information. They called Coinbase. They said, I need to reset my 2FA. I lost access to this authenticator application or my YubiKey or whatever it was. And they said, well, we're going to send you an email to authenticate that. And they had Jacob on the other line, so to speak, ready to feed information from one source to the other to basically unlock the account and drain it. So that seems like the most likely situation that was going on here, but you need to be extremely careful with that, of course. And yeah. I mean, there's so many different ways you could get hacked, but always double, triple verify who you're speaking to. You can't trust emails many times. And when it comes to unlocking your accounts, I think it was right of Jacob, at least, to go to actual Coinbase.com. So when he got this phone call, he actually went to Coinbase.com and reset the 2FA himself there, rather than do it over the phone with some sort of other individual. He did what he could using the tools he had access to himself on their official website. So he said, sorry guys, I don't need your help because I did it myself. And then the employee on the other side of the line got angry. Right? The scammer got angry because he was so close. Anyway, be careful, guys. So there's this hearing that took place 1 day ago entitled The Future of Digital Assets here in the United States, providing clarity for the digital asset ecosystem. And while I didn't have time to watch it all myself, of course, I thought this comment on the ETH Finance general daily discussion went into some key points. So you can see kind of how out of touch these representatives are, the people discussing the future path of regulation with any sort of ethos related to decentralization or actual sovereign empowerment of the individual with access to these new financial tools, which is, I think, is a key hallmark of why this whole movement exists in the first place. That's not at all how they want to shape future regulation. Take a look at these comments. So numerous times stablecoin legislation was mentioned, and and the importance for the US dollar to maintain its dominance as the world's reserve currency. New consumer protections, right? Here we are with the protection. We don't want your protection, SEC, but here we are. Possibly new consumer protections being discussed so that you could, for example, invest individually in blockchain only at a limit of 5% of your net income. You can only protect 5% of your net income potentially. How ridiculous would that be, right? It's your money. Shouldn't you be allowed to say how you spend it or invest it or protect it? Ridiculous. Also, a rules for categorization of blockchain projects for the purpose of jurisdiction for the SEC or the CFTC, with a grace period for projects to become decentralized. So I think what they're saying here, if it's decentralized, then it won't be under the purview of either the SEC or the CFTC. Interesting if that would be the case. But everything else would have to either be something that is regulated under the SEC or the CFTC. Mr. Foster's comments regarding ongoing classified briefings. So there are classified discussions going on here, likely related to this Operation Chokehold 2.0 against cryptocurrency that we're recently seeing with these attacks. And just basically people in bed with, just capitalism at work right here, politics and capitalism, to make sure that the crony system continues to work in favor of the cronies and not the average person. So anyway, interesting to see that kind of discussion is happening. So what's up? What's up, 10 Pence? Good to see you. Hey, Neil. Omar, how are your crypto holdings looking like nowadays regarding what do you hold in percentages if you don't mind sharing? That is, bro. Yeah, I used to do that back in the day, man, as you've probably seen like the screenshots I did like in 2017, which might be what you're referring to. But like I've said, I've said recently is that I'm trying to be a little bit more private about things. Of course, when it comes to percentages, people can figure things out. So I don't even keep track, honestly. I probably should, of everything that I'm holding. Some of it I exclude myself. I'm like, that probably I'll never sell. That might never have a value. So I don't. There's coins like that I hold, but for the most part, like when it comes to the future, I'm like mostly Ethereum. I would probably say like 50% Ethereum, probably like 40% Ethereum, 30% Bitcoin or something, or no, probably more Ethereum, 60%, I don't know, man, 50% Ethereum, 30% Bitcoin, and 20% other alternatives. But it's probably even less than that, to be honest, for these other alternatives. For the most part, like I'm just pretty heavily into Ethereum. I think the whole ultrasound money meme to me is extremely convincing. I think we're about to see the fruits of burning of EIP 1559. I know I say it all the time, but I'm not trying to do it to try to convince anyone. It's just how I'm convinced, right? I just think we have yet to see the fruits of this burning, of this massive staking, the demand that's going to be coming, the innovation that you see particularly happening in Ethereum first, how it has that first smart contract mover advantage, and it has this huge chasm that it looks like nothing can really cross, try as they do, cycle after cycle. So primarily Ethereum, especially with these huge pullbacks, I think the gains there could be really outstanding and surprising what we could still see even at these price levels. Even though I originally got it around $10, I think this is still opportune time to be buying it, right? I think it has a lot left to grow. We saw, for example, like the buying from, hardcore crypto people who bought into like the Ethereum ICO. Then eventually you saw miners really getting involved with it. They were mining other coins and they began having a stake and seeing Ethereum's price grow. You had developers who wanted to see the price grow, who just had some, who were paid in it. You had eventually people on Coinbase buying it, average people hearing about Ethereum and buying it outside of the more hardcore crypto followers who were more privy to it early on. Then you saw the institutions finally come in. The institutions, the banks begin testing with it. Like I think it was Hong Kong recently issued another security on Ethereum that I read about just earlier today that was being tested. So you're still seeing institutions begin to play around. And Fidelity, I mean, they are quite big in Bitcoin, for example, which is on a different kind of like cycle, right? I think Ethereum slightly behind Bitcoin, and you're going to see the same kind of cycles again with other coins, but that's what I mean by first mover advantages. But anyway, I think some of what we saw recently, right, because Bitcoin is ahead with these cycles with El Salvador, and you're seeing Bitcoin being adopted almost by a nation state. That's, I think, one of the next big inflows you're going to be seeing, right? You're going to be seeing treasuries, not just from corporations, but from nation states trying to dip their toes into this. There's going to be a lot of opposition against it. There's going to be a lot of governments that don't want to see that control. So that's going to take a long time to play out, but that's going to be a lot of capital coming in, and that has yet to come in here that I think will want increased exposure to something like Bitcoin first, right? And eventually I think Ethereum. But yeah, nation states will be the next one, and after that it will be entire planets, right? Maybe Mars, maybe we'll get Mars involved. I don't know, I'm just joking at that point. But you get what I'm saying here. I think hedging on behalf of nation states will be one of the big things coming here, and that's going to be bringing huge inflows. So it pays to buy these dips, right? Enjoy this bear market, like that comment that we had read on Reddit before, because this is when you take those positions that eventually bear that fruit in the bull market, if you reap that fruit, of course, and don't just hold on completely. Take some profit. Anyway, I thought this was an attractive looking chart, right? Not to say that this is legit or anything. This is just entertainment purposes only, my friends. So this is the flippening chart, and this was posted, I don't even remember where today, but it potentially points at a flippening where ETH dominance across the entire market cap for cryptocurrencies climbs over Bitcoin dominance mid-2026. So it looks like if trends do continue, or seeming trends based on this time period from 2013 till now, then it's possible. Looking at these sexy lines, that is the point. And I do wonder how that's going to flip narratives on its head and get even more people involved in Ethereum. Once it actually does pass that dominance and prove that it is possible to beat the one and only Bitcoin. Not that I want to bet against either one. It's just fun. Anyway, I hope you guys have enjoyed the show. I appreciate you guys so much for showing up. Time and time again, showing your support by being here, whether I'm uploading or not. Many of you guys pinging me, asking me to come back. It does play a role in whether I do come back or not many times. But I'm here to stay weekly. So I look forward to catching you guys next week here. And we will finish, as we've always done, with a quote of the day, even though we didn't get to do that last time. Too many people miss the silver lining because they're expecting gold. Maurice Setter. I like that one. Please let me know your thoughts on anything we talked about down below. Let me know what important news or trends you think I'm missing so that I can look into them further and help pass that information to other people in future videos. I now have a week to look at your comments. I tried to respond to every single one last week, and I will try again this week. So please let me know your thoughts again on this and whether I have any major technical problems I'm missing that I can make better for you. It really is a two-way street, and I want to make the show good for you guys yet again. Take care. Much love, everyone. Thank you again for showing up. Remember to hit like, subscribe, share the videos, tweet it out, upvote it on Reddit, share it on Reddit, and I'll see you next time. Take care. Much love. Stay cryptic. That's what it is. Peace.